So everything that you do is worth points on the OML, so the Order of Merit list. And basically it's 1 through the last person in your class. And that's how your branch is chosen for active duty. So basically the better you do in everything, like the higher chance you have to get what job you want. So the obstacle course was like the first thing, like graded thing, and I believe it's out of 50 points. But one of the higher like point thingies, is the rope climb. Is called like the tough one. So you climb a rope and then you cross over and then you climb up and then you climb down to like a cargo net. And it was probably like in my squad, 2 people couldn't do it, and then the squad that was with us, I think 2 people couldn't do it, and that was 5 points, like automatically that they lost, because they couldn't get up there. So make sure you know how to do that. People don't tell you that. It's a lot of stuff they don't tell you before you get there. So that's that. So then the next big thing was land nav. Oh, y'all. When I tell you, I thought land nav was going to take me out. Before I even got there, I was like, oh my gosh, land nav, land nav, land nav. I'm from Chicago. We don't be playing in the woods. We don't be going hunting, doing none of that, where we been none of that. So being in the woods and just being like, oh, I'm going to find my way. What? It wasn't your girl. So in basic, you do a land nav course. And I went to Fort Leonard Wood. So the land nav course there is like a good course to train on because the terrain is different. It's not just flat. You're going up and down valleys and saddles and depressions and all that other stuff. And the classes that we got in basic training were not like classes. It was just like, oh, by the way, we got 20 minutes, so let's talk about land nav. Versus for people like myself who are like, I don't really know how to look and see a terrain feature and go like, oh, that's a saddle, oh, that's a depression, oh, that's a hill. Well, a hill to me was easy, but other than that, I'm like, everything looks the same. So in OCS, they give you a little bit more. And I guess that also depends on your company. My company was great. I think that we had the best cadre ever. I even told the battalion commander that I would fight anybody who said otherwise. But I went to first sergeant and I was like, hey, first sergeant, what we looking like? Like, y'all really gonna recycle people for that? Yeah, they do. So he told me, and I'm like, this will always stick with me. He said, it is okay to not be confident, but it's not okay to be scared. And I was like, okay, say less. So the technique that I learned in basic training was dead reckoning. And so dead reckoning is like, you literally look up and you're like, okay, I'm supposed to be going 270 degree azimuth. There's a tree 30 meters ahead of me. Walk to the tree. Get your compass, make sure you're on the right azimuth, look at the next terrain feature, look at something that sticks out. Well, to me in the woods, everything looks the same. And I mean, everything. So, it's kind of neat how they do that. You're out there for like 4 days. So the first day you get out there and the cadre take you out and they're like, hey, these are your grids, these are your coordinates, plot it, and then shoot your azimuth and then go find it, but you go as a group. So if you're kind of lacking, you need to make sure that you're the person up there like, hold on, don't say nothing. Let me go ahead and plot this. I need a little bit of extra time. And some cadre will be like, okay. And some are going to be like, nope, we ain't got time for that. So that's that. The second day, you get up in the morning and you go with a battle buddy. And so me and my battle buddy found all 5 points. And I was like, okay, you get that confidence and you're like, yes, I could do this. I could do this. But you're with somebody else. So you're like, yes, I'm not going to be lost in the woods by myself. So that's how I felt. Because you do 2 hours at night / morning and then 2 hours like during daylight. So we were like, okay, we good. We got this. So then we went in the afternoon by ourselves and I found 3 points. And I was like, still not bad. You need 4 to pass, 5 to test out on the first day and get maximum points. The third day was like pre-test day, but if you got 5, you would pass. Baby, tell me why I came back with 0 points. Not a single point. Not a one. So I get in line and my roommate is up there and she's like, how many did you get? Did you pass? And I was like 0. And she was like, shut up, like loud. And I was like, I'm serious as a heart attack. So I was discouraged. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. This is gonna take me out. Like, oh my gosh, I don't work so hard to get here. Freaking out. So my mentor, oh my gosh, and he was like, I'm the best land navigator in the Army, all this other stuff. That man spent 6 hours with me out on that course. 6 hours. And he was like, you know, what happened? And he was like, I'm gonna tell you what happened. He was like, you got out there, you looked for the first point and you couldn't find it. You were like, all right, I'm gonna go to my second point. You couldn't find it and then you start to freak out. He was like, and then you began to spiral. When I tell y'all he was exactly right, I was in the woods like praying to the Wiccans. I mean, everybody, I was like, Lord, if you please let me find 3 points, I know for sure tomorrow I'm gonna pass. Like, I just need to get that confidence up. I just need to be able to say that, like, I know I can do this. And so our platoon mentor was like, you know, land nav is all about confidence. He was like, that's all it is. And I was explaining to him, I'm not comfortable out here. It's hogs. It's all types of animals. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just wasn't comfortable. It's dark. Like, when I tell you it is dark, you have a headlamp on, but you can only turn your headlamp on to, like, write down, like, the, I don't even know what Captain Miller put on there. It was something so you couldn't cheat. So they knew that you had gone, like, actually gone to the point yourself. And I was like, that's the only time you can turn your headlamp on, really. Or they were like, you know, you can turn it on to look real quick, but then you got to turn it off. So it's dark. And then you're hearing stuff in the woods. And you're like, oh my gosh, is it an animal? Is it a person? So I was like, hello? Nobody was saying that. Hello? Oh my God. I was like, this is it. So I was in my own head. So we spent 6 hours out there. And so he's like, you want to go find a point at night? And I was like, yeah, let's go find a point at night. Like, let's just do it. And he worked on my technique because I was so used to dead reckoning. And if I didn't find my point, I was like, well, screw it. It ain't over here. And he's like, no. He was like, find something that you can remember and then do a clover leaf and look around. He was like, because you might just be off, you know, 10 meters or 5 meters or, you know, something very close. And every time I would find it. So he helped me out a lot. So the next day I went out and I found 5 points, y'all. And I came back and I passed and I was like, woo. And so we lost 3 people from our company, from land nav. So we were down to 153. So then the next big event, I'm trying to think, what's the next big event? The next big event for that, I think, is like operation orders. I don't even know where to begin because the way that they teach it, like the schoolhouse teaches it, it makes no sense. It's like somebody speaking French to you. But we had a really, really good captain. He explained, I'm talking about on a Saturday, took his entire Saturday to come in and teach us for 8 hours, like the way to do an op board, the way to read it, the way to break it down. Because basically what you're giving is like, you're given a company size op board, and then you have to break that down to a platoon op board and make it make sense for your platoon. So basically, like, yes, the mission is similar, but your platoon is doing something specific. No, as a squad level, excuse me, you're doing it down to a squad level, which isn't a real thing in the Army, I learned. And I was like, wow, so why are we doing this? But you're breaking it down to the squad level. And so you're extracting stuff from this big piece of information and making it make sense for your squad. And a lot of people were freaking out, myself included. I was like, what? But then after he explained to us like the normal way of how they do it, it made so much more sense. Just take your time, ask questions. I know that was one thing that they probably got tired of me, but I was raising my hand like, I don't understand. Can you explain that to me a different way, or can somebody else explain it to me? And so you do a garrison op board and you present in front of like 5 people from your squad, and the grading is very subjective depending on who your grader is. So there's 5 paragraphs, and 1 paragraph is like just solely you're explaining how you're going to overtake this, or how you're going to defend this place, or how you're going to clear, or how you're going to seize. Like, it's coming from self. And so that part is not that bad, but then like trying to regurgitate, and it's not like you're reading it, you know, they don't want you to be like, and then this, and people were, because, you know, you're nervous, it's graded, and you're like, but once you do it a couple times, my roommates and I like practice on each other, like giving the op or and just kind of critiquing each other and being like, hey, you know, you did really well, but this part you kind of skimmed over and it didn't make much sense. Or hey, I didn't remember you saying that, so like what about that? And if you got good squad members, they gonna ask you questions about what you forgot. So they're gonna be like, can you go over the CASEVAC plan? And you're gonna be like, yes. All right, so the CASEVAC plan is this, and this. So, you know, you kind of help each other out, be a team player for sure. If you're not a team player, you're not gonna make it. You'll probably make it, but you are not gonna be a good leader. And I'm gonna just put that out there. You're just not, because you need one another to kind of make it work. Like everything works together in sequence in order to operate as a big organization. So you do the Garrison one, and then you do the Sticks one. So I had a lot of fun at Sticks, but I didn't realize that Sticks is actually a field exercise at OCS, and it's not just Sticks, because Sticks is supposedly like an 8-hour thing and you don't stay outside. At Sticks, you stay outside for like 2 weeks. So you out Monday through Friday, you go back for the weekend and like, you know, get yourself together, and then you go back out Monday through Friday. And so basically the first week is like you practicing running lanes, and the cadre are basically telling you like, hey, this is what we're looking for in field leadership. And this is where it gets very, very, very subjective. So all of our cadre were combat arms. So all of them were engineers all of them were infantry except 2, I believe. And he was an engineer. So they are very specific on what they are looking for and how things should be done. But mind you, you are green to this. You are new. You've never been in a situation where you've been attacked on a squad level. So how you react is basically, they just trying to see like, are you going to freeze, or are you going to be like, oh no, we about to kick some people's teeth in? So they teach you the different lanes and kind of basically like, you know, this might be a good position to set up your assault team. This might be a good position to set up your support by fire, and go from there. And you kind of just work it out, and you run the lanes, and you're tired and you're exhausted. My squad was awesome though, because everybody gave 110%. Like every single time, everybody was like, you know what? We out here and we enjoying it. But what they don't tell you about Sticks, oh, you're gonna be up in that patrol base with 33% security, and you better be up. So if not, like the cadre will come and like infiltrate the base. Our class was the first class they said that they could not get into any patrol bases for their company. So I mean, that made us feel really good, because it was like we were suffering being up, and it was cold, and you're tired after running lanes all day in the hot sun, but it's cold at night in Georgia, and then you hear coyotes howling, all types of stuff. Like my mind was like, what am I doing? What am I out here doing? But then one of our cadre came, and he was like, you're just out here embracing the suck. I'm like, yeah, you got to, because it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about your perspective. It's all about how you view things. So that was pretty fun, but I cannot lie and say that last Friday, and I was like, I'm ready to go. Thank you, Lord. Because also you're doing 33% security at the patrol base. So you're up every 2 hours patrolling. But not only that, then you have to walk to the gate to do gate guard, or you have to walk to the radios to do radio guard, or you have to walk to the ammo shack to do ammo. So it's good. So the funny story, my roommate and I, because it was only 3 females in our squad, and we were all roommates. We were the 3-person room. And so we were coming back from radio, and we did not have our night vision goggles on. I don't know, because it was easier for me to see. I know it's going to sound crazy. It was easier for me to see in the dark than it was with the night vision goggles and my glasses. It was crazy. And we hear something. We stop, and we like, hello? Nothing. So we look, and we like, okay, we'll keep going. So we hear it again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like branches cracking, all this stuff. So it's like something is walking. Pew! We take off running. I'm talking about like hauling. And there was like this big log that was like laying down. It was like a tree that had fallen. And I'm like, here come the tree. Here come the tree. And I'm telling my room, I'm like, grab my hands so we can stick together. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to say if she get eaten by a coyote? Like, how can I live with myself? And I'm not going to want to sleep out here anymore. So we get back, and it was these other 2 girls getting off of like the gate duty. So we were like, oh, we'll just all walk back. It's 4 of us. If it's 4 of us, more numbers, we'll be fine. They left us because we had to go to the bathroom, because by that time, scared, about to pee on ourselves. So we go to the bathroom and they leave us. So these 2 guys come up and I'm like, did y'all see anything? Or did y'all hear anything? And they were like, yeah, we saw 2 people running and we were wondering if they were okay. And we were like, yeah, that was us. Why y'all didn't say nothing? They were like, oh, we didn't hear you. You didn't see us in the night vision goggles. So wear your night vision goggles if you out there so you can see, so you're not running like a fool in the woods. But yeah, Sticks is fun. Like I said, I just graduated April 9th. So we went to Sticks. It was mid-March. Yeah, mid-March. So it was cool. So snakes and stuff weren't really out there as prevalent, but I hear in the summertime they're out there. So I guess decide and choose when you want to go. I think we went during the perfect time because it wasn't too cold, it wasn't too hot. Land nav was cold though, I'm not gonna lie, it was freezing out there. But so that's that. So that's Sticks. So after Sticks, you're pretty much done with like your outdoors field type stuff. And you get 2 team leader looks and you get 1 squad leader look, and your squad leader is like basically like a grade, and I think it's out of 100, and I want to say the rubric is out of like 175, and I think I got a 163. So your graded, your op board is like the biggest portion of that, like how you present, how your diagram, like how you get the information to your people. That's a huge part. But then there's like automatic no-go. So if you commit fratricide, so if one of your people shoots another person like blue on blue friendly fire, automatic no-go, because you cannot control your people. And as a squad leader, when you're in like that field portion, like you kind of have to take a step back, and your team leaders are the ones kind of running the show and you're just overseeing. So it's kind of difficult. So nobody in my squad committed fratricide. Our cadre that graded us was like, yeah, I was real close, but nobody did it, you know, because you're yelling like shift and lift fire or shift and cease fire and all that other stuff. And sometimes you can't see, where you can no longer see your support by fire. You can only see your assault team as they're bounding forward or as they're moving forward. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna shift now, but they're moving so fast, and you know, you want to make sure that they hear you, and the radios weren't working. But I mean, that's like probably what happens in real life all the time. Like your comms aren't gonna work. So after that, you come back, you're gonna clean your weapons, you're gonna clean your gear forever. You want to make sure that it's good, because that's a part of your inspection to phase up to white phase, so your senior phase. No company had like ever passed with the battalion commander the first time, and so we were really like, we really want to pass, we really want to pass. We did not. He said that those were like the cleanest of the rooms he had seen ever, but we didn't pass. So he comes in, he checks your tap system, which vacuum out your tap system, because he gonna come in there and shake it like a stripper. I mean, like he is shaking it and slapping it on his leg and vacuum it out, because those like little leaves and rocks that you just don't think about, get the vacuum cleaner and go in there. And then they're gonna ask you a question about knowledge that you should know. So like, what does MET-TC stand for? People in the chain of command, what are the paragraphs of the op board? Like stuff that you have been learning throughout your entire course. And then you roll into history. So everybody always talks about how history is this like monster. Doc Campbell, I really like Doc Campbell. I do think that it's difficult when you have OCs, so like officer candidates, explaining certain events, because they may not hit on the points that are important. But he always went back and was like, hey, make sure you know this, or hey, good show, you done good. And what we want to take away from this is blah, 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 blah. And everything that is on the test is literally on the PowerPoint. However, it is not like any other Army test that you're going to take. Come closer. All the other Army tests, they basically going to give you the answers to it. Doc Campbell is not. So you have to study. I passed the first time out of 153 people. I think it was 20 people that didn't pass the first time, but then the second time, every single person passed. So, and the people that didn't pass were like, I didn't study as much as I could have. And when I say study, so you do history for like 10 days straight. But you also have other classes in between history, and it kind of makes it difficult to like pay attention to those classes because you're focused on history. But my roommates and I would like come back from class after we ate. We would come back and just study until about, I don't know, until probably like 2100. So for a good 3 hours after we had just learned, we would come back and study. And I'm not saying that you should do that. I'm not suggesting that you do that. I mean, however you study. Like I said, I'm not the greatest test taker. And so hearing about history and how it was like, oh my God, you're gonna fail. You're not. If you pay attention, you read the slides, look at the study guide, hint, hint, wink, wink, at the bottom, you will do just fine. And they will always ask you if you have questions, all of that. So I know people talk about like, oh my God, history. It's just because it's so much information, but he does kind of narrow it down for like what you need to really pay attention and focus on. He's going to show you like all the multiple choice questions, not at the same time, and he's going to ask you and like make sure you can answer those. If you can answer those, you will be just fine. I promise you. Like, I was freaking out big time, and when I look back, I'm like, history wasn't that bad. It's how the questions are worded, so you have to pay very close attention. I want to say I got an 88 or 89. So, and you need a 70 to pass. And I think, is it 6 questions? The first 10 questions are multiple choice, and there were 6 points. So if you get all of those right, because I know I got one ID question right. One, I know for sure, because the other ones I was like, I don't know. So you will be just fine if you pay attention, you take good notes, and you go back and refresh. Or however studying works for you, you will be fine. Oh, I forgot. And so then after you get back from sticks and stuff, you're going to have like a branching social. Once you branch, you don't know what you branch until you get in the back on the table and you pick up your little branch insignia and you're like, oh no, I'm infantry. Cry back there, and then you get out there and you come out and you're like, OC such and such, I branched infantry, follow me, and then you walk off the stage. But yeah, that's a pretty cool experience because, you know, you want to see what your cohorts got. I know for me, it was really exciting because I had already known my branch. I was like, I already know my branch. As a reservist in National Guard, you already know your branch before you go there, so you already have your job. So the OML is important, but it's really important for the active duty people because it's deciding their jobs, it's deciding their fate and, you know, their families. So, you know, with that being said, do your absolute best on everything. And obviously there can only be one person that's number one, but like, don't just get there and be like, meh, I'm gonna just take it slow or I'm gonna do whatever. No, it's not gonna work like that because you might end up with a branch that you hate. My company, it was people putting in packages for infantry. Like they really, really wanted infantry and they didn't get it. You know, they got field artillery or they got, one guy wanted infantry and he ended up getting operations. Like, so, ordnance, he ended up getting ordnance. So make sure, like, don't be a bad person. Like, be a good person. Try your best. Don't burn anybody or screw anybody over. But like, if you want something, A, drop a packet for it, or B, know that you have to be on top of your stuff. Like, be on top of your stuff. There's other tests throughout, like supply tests, ethics. No, there's no test on ethics. I'm sorry. So supply, like legal, tactics, your op boards, land nav, like all of those things, like do your best on. So I was a reservist, and I think I ranked out of 153 people, I was number 46. So like even though it didn't matter like what I got on the OML, like as far as a job, because I had already had one, but make sure that you do your best. And I'm telling you, like I said, I didn't get max points on land nav because I had to go again the second day. I didn't get max point on the obstacle course because the dumbest thing, you had to walk over some logs, and I couldn't even do that. It was worth 2 points or something like that. I couldn't even do that. All the hard stuff I could do, but that little simple stuff, like I just could not, I don't know. So do your best. So then after your branching social, make sure your branching social is a test. They're testing you because that's the first time that you get to have alcohol. If you are a drinker, drink your 2 drinks and be done. Don't try and get extra tickets from people. Don't try and don't do that. They're watching you. I'm telling you, this is going to be the first time that you mess up. And so since we were in COVID, we didn't get to have guests for that. We didn't get to have significant others like they had done in the past. But don't be out here cheating on your spouse and acting like, don't do that either. That's a whole nother story. But just be a good person when you're there. Like, just be a good person. So then after history, you're anxious and you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You want to clean your gear because you got to turn in the CIF. You got to turn in your laptop. And you got to do that 4-mile run that they don't tell you about. So you have to run 4 miles in 36 minutes or less. So that's a 9-minute mile pace. Doable, very doable. But if you have never run 4 miles, or if you're not used to running like at that pace, you definitely want to start before you go there. So me, myself personally, I had never run 4 miles until like the weekend in between sticks. I had never done it. I didn't even know that we had to run 4 miles. Nobody said anything about it. I think it's just kind of one of those things that people are like, oh, yeah. Because I think it used to be different before COVID, or before the battalion commander that was there at the time was there. I think it used to be more of like a spirit de corps run. So you would run 2 miles is what I hear. And then, you stop and then you run 2 miles back. But now, baby, it is time. And it is a graduation requirement. And we had 2 people from the company be recycled because of that. So you don't want to get through all of that and then you get through everything and then you get to the last thing, the last graduation requirement, and you like, I got to go back to another company. So they give you 2 chances to do everything. So you get the original chance, and then you get like a makeup. A lot of times the makeup, a lot of times people would pass. And that's with everything. That's with tests, that's with land nav, that's with history, that's with op boards, your 4 mile. I think my company even gave people like 3 chances to run. But if you can't, you know what I mean? Like if you're not a runner, or, and when I tell you, you running your 4 mile on Monday, and if you don't pass, you running it again on Friday. So it's not like you got 3 weeks to like prepare. No. So if you know that you're not a strong runner, start. It's doable. Trust me, you can do it. Out of the 100, and I think by that time we were 155, only 2 people were recycled for that. So give it your best and know, like, this is my last thing, and then I'm out of here. I'm going to be commissioned, and that's the end game. Like, that's the goal. So leave everything that you have on that track. Whatever you need to do to motivate yourself, like, hit it and go. Like I said, I had never run 4 miles before, but I was like, I knew I could do it. Once they told me, I was like, what? I knew that I could do it because I'm like, I had always kind of been athletic and in shape. I played sports. So it's like, oh, okay, I can do it. But it was mental for me. And probably for a lot of people, just get you a buddy that who is like around the same pace. is you who is going to be motivating you and you can motivate them. It was Tanerica for me, Tanerica and Brittany. We were like, we're going to run together. We got it. And they also have pacers. So the cadre are going to pace it at 9 minutes for you, like exactly 9 minutes. So if you beat them, you're good. We ran ours in 34. Yeah, we ran ours in 34 minutes. So you definitely can do it. It was, whoo, this girl, she's a beast. She ran hers in 22 minutes. She is a beast, phenomenal freaking runner. I mean, the fastest runner in our class. She was top notch, like really, really awesome. She ran in college. Fastest mile time was like 4 minutes. Whew, it's making me tired thinking about it. So just OCS isn't that bad. It is what you make it. You are going to gain some really good experiences. You are going to, there's going to be times when you're like, child, I'm tired, or, you know, I'm exhausted mentally. How much more can I take? But you definitely can do it. It's not that hard. Excuse me. And you do have student leadership positions. So I was top 3. So I was the CO, so the company commander, and basically OCS is all student led. So don't pay attention to what them cadre tell you. If you want to, you're going to be getting chewed out. So I was company commander the second week. Then I was a squad leader week 6 during sticks. And then throughout that time, I was like a team leader when other people were squad leaders and stuff like that. So make sure that you take care of your people, because basically that's what you're going to be doing as an officer. So start now if you don't have those leadership qualities. OCS is not going to make you a good leader. I'm just going to put that out right now. I think that a lot of people have qualities within them already, or they don't. And you can kind of adapt and learn how to be a good leader, but OCS is not going to make you a good leader. Because there was some people in our company, I'm like, wow, like that's what you're doing. But you know, take that student leadership and run with it and use it as practice, because one day you are going to be a company commander. One day you are going to be an executive officer of a battalion or a brigade or whatever. Well, not a battalion, you're going to be a BC, but like of a company or a battery or anything like that. So take that and learn. And as a leader, make sure that you can say like, hey, I screwed up. Like, your people will work so much harder for you and appreciate that when you're like, hey, sorry, dude, I screwed up. So take it as a learning experience and just have fun. Not too much fun. You are going to have a formal, and that's like 2 days before graduation. You can kind of let your hair down a little bit. I know our cadre, as the cycle went on, they became a little bit more laxed with us. Not too lax, but they became a little bit more treating us more like officers and not like, oh, you're an OC. They were like, hey, you're about to be an officer. Our first sergeant, probably one of the best leaders, if not the best leader I have ever witnessed. And that's civilian, military, and I've had some really good leaders in the Navy too, but like one of the best. I really wish that he could be an inspirational speaker, and it wasn't because he was so positive and so, no, he was real. He was real, and he was going to get onto you when he needed to be, but he was also going to be there for you. Like, and that speaks volumes. I don't know. So you have your formal and you wear your ASUs and you're like, oh man, like I feel like I've really done it and I made it. And after that, you graduate. So we were the first graduating class. We got to graduate at the NIM, so the National Infantry Museum, and we got to have 2 guests. So we were like the first graduating class in over a year to be allowed to have guests. And that was like a huge experience, like especially for me, like having my mom be there. Like, even though we didn't wear ASUs, we wore OCPs, so your working uniform, but just to see her, like for her to be able to see me graduate, like it meant the world. Like it was an amazing experience. And then we got to go inside the NIM, which she loved it. My aunt loved it. It was just such a cool experience, an awesome experience to share that with them. Like I wish my dad would have been able to come, but he wasn't, because we only were able to have 2 guests, and my mom had to drive down, and my aunt was driving down with her. So so it's just, I mean, super neat, super cool. So I guess this is a long video basically to tell you, if you want to do it, like, you can do it. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. I promise you. I promise you I made it. And some other people that made it. Just be the best version of yourself, and, you know, be able to take feedback and be able to learn and listen from others, and just know that you're not going to come out, like, if you're not already a good leader, or you don't already have that, like, so I manage 100 people in my civilian job. So, like, I've been in leadership for a while, and even in the Navy before I got out, like, I was in leadership on a smaller scale, but, you know, you're working with people, and the Army is changing to be more about people. You know, if people can go and see their kids, you know, soccer game, you know, that person may appreciate that. Like, you're not gonna, you know, those are moments. You get paid to basically give your time. So when you can give your time back, or give people their time back, that's the best thing that you can give them, and be there for them. Hold them accountable, be firm, fair, and consistent. There's no way you can go wrong. So, well, thank you. I hope this explains, I guess, a little bit about OCS during 2020, 2021. I guess if you have questions, you can let me know. Thanks.